Hey, there you are. There I am. Welcome. Good evening. Hope you like that new intro I made. That's from some of the stuff that didn't make it into my video, my review video of the Aria. I see I have two people here, and they're chatting away already. Take a look here. What we got going here? Donald Parrish, so cute, but don't expect to see it in the USA. I don't know. We might. I don't know. You never know. William Sheehan says the Mitsubishi i-MiEV with a 14.5 kilowatt battery pack was also a K car and was sold worldwide. This is true. It started out. It is a K car originally, and they electrified it, and it did end up in the UK and America. I think. I know UK for sure, but I think America as well. The Sakura and EK Cross EV, which is the same car, just different badges, have a 20 kilowatt battery pack and more equipment than the i-MiEV. Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty packed with stuff. So thank you, William, for that. And Alain Pierre, hey buddy, says hi, James. Interesting, this new Nissan Sakura. I think it's cute. It's okay. It's let's go right into it then. Let's see if I can find it. Nah, that's not right. So this is what they showed us. This was the IMK concept. That's what they showed us originally. And then I have the pictures. You just saw one of the instrumentation. So that's what the instrumentation looked in the concept car. Interior looked like that in the concept car. And then what we actually got was something like this. Boom. And yeah, those wheels are, I really don't like those wheels. That's really bothers me, those wheels. But the car really reminds me of, we have a K car already that looks basically like this from Nissan and Mitsubishi. And the Nissan side, it's called the Lux, Days Lux, and it's ROOX, not LOO, whatever. LOOKS, no, it's ROOX. And it looks very much like that. The front end is different. Let's see if I can show the front end. Let's see. These are, I want to compare these with the actual car itself. Here's one. So here's what the actual car looks like from the front profile. And you can see by these wheels here, these wheels, the black and silver, are on the premium package. You pay more for this car with these awesome ugly wheels. Now I don't really care for this car, but it's a Sakura, so they have a pink version of it. It's called the seasonal color. They have 4 seasons, 4 colors for each season, and Sakura's for spring, I suppose. And they have a little trim. You can see the trim goes up the A-pillar all the way back to the quarter panel, if you call it that. The MPs. I do like the front end. The front is pretty nice. On the EK wagon one, the Mitsubishi version of this, the front fascia is very similar to all their other the vans they put out. Gosh, I can't think of the name right now because I'm not really, oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not really into Mitsubishi vans too much. But yeah, very similar front end with the light bar going vertically instead of horizontally. Light bars going vertically on the sides. I'm not a big fan of it, but this is definitely, I think the front end is very nice. Side profile's a little weak, and then the rear, I couldn't find a picture of the rear, but I do have some exterior shots of the IMK wagon, and the rear is kind of similar to what you see here a little bit. You got a light bar that goes all the way across. I can show you. I have a picture. I did get a catalog. Let's see here. Yeah, it's similar. Not quite the same, but similar. Let me take this picture off. And then as you can see, there. See you have a light bar that goes all the way across on the back. I believe this is going to be your brake lamp, and this is just going to be an accent light goes across the middle. So there, kind of similar to that. I saw one picture in here in this catalog I got today that, oh, I got some comments. Let's catch up on the comments. Yeah, here it is, the picture. It has a little bit, from a certain angle, it just a little bit of a, almost like a Mini Cooper-esque look to it. Let's see here. Hube! Wow, he made it on time today. Hey, Hube, you made it. Thanks for joining. Hello all, he says. Lane Pierre says, the EV side of this car could help it to be well sold outside Japan. Smart, compact, urban, lightweight EVs are harder to find compared to the enormous pool of electric EVs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm so glad that Nissan came out with this. Finally, a car in Japan that's in the $20,000 range. Electric car, EV in Japan. That's really roomy. Now, Lane Pierre, I don't know when you're over here, did I show you? My mother-in-law has a K car. We use it all the time. And I think when you were here, I owned a K car when you were here. I had a Honda inbox. Yeah, I did. Yes, when you were over here, I still had the blue van, so I had the inbox. And the K cars actually have way more legroom than a standard car. The reason why is if you see some of these photos, show the interior again. There's the interior. If you can see the back seats on this thing, is you're pushed right to the back hatch. There's not much trunk in these K cars, but you have tons of legroom, both front and back. You have tons of legroom in these cars, which is awesome. And they'll have high tops, so you have lots of headroom as well. They're very roomy feeling. They're more narrow than a regular car because they're very strict. The K cars, the government's very strict about their measurements, and that's why they all look so boxy, because they push them to the extremes. As far as they can go on length, as far as they can go on height, as far as they can go on width, to make as much room as possible inside the vehicle. So that's why they can't get too stylish with these cars. But I think Nissan, and like this one, I like this picture, this angle. Now that is a cute angle of this car. It's hard for me to point. Yeah. Is that coming through okay? I like that. That is really cute, that angle. That's a good shot of that car. So that's some good lines there. I think this car is going to look better in person. To be honest, the pictures in this catalog, none of them really do it much good, really. And you have grades. Here's the grades. We have 3 grades. You have an S, an X, and a G. And the X and G are basically the same. And then you have on the G, you have what's called the premium. Now the premium comes with the striping on the outside. You have some striping on the dash, on the inside. Over here. Right here, there's this here. The dash is a little bit different. Materials, a little different materials, I think. And you have these wheels, these horrendous wheels. I really prefer the wheels on the G. I do. And this car is actually heavier by 10 kilograms. It's a 10 kilogram heavier car. I don't know why. I'm not sure, because I checked. I was looking at all the stats, and suspension's the same, powertrain's the same, battery's the same. It's probably the materials. The seat materials are a little different than the X and G standards, and also these wheels. It could be the wheels even. It could just be the wheels adding an extra 10 kilograms to the weight. Yeah, I prefer the G. The G is 23,000. I have the price sheet here somewhere. The G is way more affordable. The premium one. Oh no. Oh man. I bet you it's still in the car. Well, I left the price sheet in the car. It was hard to carry everything in, but it just, you guys got to see this. All the different things that come with the catalog. I just dropped a couple things. This thing's telling you. This is telling you about the charge plan. I told you they have a new plan you have to pay a lot of money for, and it's telling you how many chargers are available in Japan. A lot. Looks like 30, 40, 58, 59, about 59,000 chargers available, depending on where you go. What you use. If you use dealerships or if you use parking areas or things like that, But so many catalogs. Should you fell down here? These things. I must have left the price sheet in, but I know basically whatever. It's not too hard. 23,000 for the G. Oh, not G, for the X. 23,000 for the X, which is the middle range. And they have an S, I believe. I thought they did, but I don't see an S here. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's just X and G and then premium. Probably that's what it is. I saw 3 models. And you have an X, G, and premium. And the X is what they consider the bottom, but I like it. I like the interior, if you can see here. The interior on the X is a lighter color. I like that. I prefer that. Japanese really like black interiors on their cars. And so when you get the more expensive car, you just get black. You can't choose the seat color or anything usually. That's where the premium comes in. The premium gives you same black door panels and dashboard and things like that, but you do get a white cloth seats, white seats. Very similar to these seats, but I noticed this material. This one's the same material over here as over here, same material. But the top material, I think it's a softer touch. It's a little nicer material than this. This is more like almost like a denim material. It's a little rougher, a little more industrial, I suppose. But I do prefer the wheels on the X. I do. I think the X and the G both take these wheels, and just the premium gets these wheels. I'm not a big fan of those personally, but yeah, it's just their own, right? But the premium is 30,000 roughly. It's 29,000 something, and with tax and license, it's going to be $30,000 car for a K car. And this K car, even though it has a 20 kilowatt hour battery pack, it does pretty good on range. They're saying I think it's 180 kilometers from a full charge, which it's just a little bit under the first gen Leaf. First gen Leaf was 224 kilometers on a full charge over here. So it's not too bad. They're saying 180, I think. Yeah, there it is. But remember, this car also has 3 drive modes, just like the Aria. It has economy, standard, and sport, just like the Aria. And if you go in the economy mode, it's probably going to be better than this. I think this is averaging out between the 180. So you'll probably get close to 200 kilometers if you drive carefully, because it's only missing 4 kilowatts compared to the Leaf. So, Leaf was using 20 kilowatts. You had 24, but it was using 20. So this is 20. So you're probably getting, 16 or 17 kilowatt hours of use. It's not a huge difference between the cars. And this one is much lighter. It's a much lighter car than the Leaf. And so I'm thinking the range it's not too bad. I mean, it's $23,000 if you get the X. Or, whatever. It's 23 to 25, I think it's X or G. And the premium is pretty much $30,000. And honestly, I was checking the things, and I couldn't find anything that really sold me on going to the premium. It didn't seem like that great of a deal. Stick with the X or G grades. Let's see. Anybody else talking? Let's see. Yep, the blue Honda. Yes, he did see it. Okay. That's a good K car. And this car is going to be identical in size on the inside and outside base. It's the same size, Alain Pierre, as my blue Honda inbox. I did a test drive video on this channel. I don't know if it's still up, but I did a test drive. I was showing it had adaptive cruise control with lane keep. So it had kind of ProPilot of its own. It's called Honda Sensing, and it could drive itself. You took your hands off the steering wheel. It gave you, I think, a 15 to 20 second buffer before it start barking at you to put your hands back on the wheel. So it gave you time to do little things, which was nice. It's actually nice if you're doing a long trip or if you're in traffic. It's kind of nice, and it was a good little car. But this is more up my alley because it's electric. I'm still stuck on the electric kind of. These are LEDs, accent lights, like daytime running lights. These are your headlights with high beams here, LEDs. And I do like this. This emblem lights up just like on the Aria. And you have fog lights. That's an option, but you can put fog lights down here. It's pretty cool. It's a nice looking car. It's roomy. They're very roomy. Everybody's always surprised. Like I have some you know, I'm not super tall, but some of my friends are over 6 foot, and then they get in the back. They get in the back of these cars. The back of these cars are actually better than the front, and they'll sit in the back seat and they'll stretch their legs out. I was like, I can actually stretch my legs out. I can't do that in my car at home in America. It's like they're compact cars, but they're just huge on the inside, leg room wise, lots of room, and this thing's gonna be loaded with features. It's gonna be great. What's the price from this car? Hugh asking what's the price. So like I said, it's about 23,000 start, and it goes up to 29 something. So after tax and licensing, you're gonna be over 30,000 mark. Which with that range and the kind of car it is, I think that's just. I don't think that's. I don't know. It's just who wants to. It depends if you want two-tone. You want the more special wheels. Hard to show you. You want the more special wheels on it. And an interior, a little bit different interior materials. If you're willing to get, pay extra for that, then there you go. But if you don't mind the one tone paint job, a little bit better wheel, even though I'm not fans of either of the wheels, but the cheaper ones, the solid black ones, to me are a little bit nicer looking. And yeah, that's 23,000. As far as EVs go, that's pretty good. And this car isn't meant for taking long trips. This one, people can't say, oh, like people gave Leaf a bad time. It's like, oh, I can't go far, blah, blah, blah. Even though I don't mind. For people living on islands, I think it's perfect. You might have to stop a couple times before you get to your destination, but it's a small battery, so it takes 15, 20 minutes to charge up, right? In the summertime. And so, a couple stops, get a coffee break and stretch your legs and stuff, and you get your destination. So I never complained about the Leaf. But a lot of people did complain in the UK, in America, about the Leaf's range. First gen I'm talking about. This car's going to have range very similar. It's just a little less than the Leaf, it looks like. But similar range to the Leaf, first gen Leaf. But this car it's meant to be, it's an urban car. It's a, city or suburbs. It's not meant to be taking trips. You can. It's totally capable of doing that. I mean, with the range it has, like I said, my Leaf right now, I'm at 10 segs on the health. So my Leaf is getting at full charge. I'm probably getting 160 kilometers, which is 100 miles. I'm getting roughly 100 miles on a 100% charge on that Leaf. And since I'm on this island, it would still be fine for taking trips. Now, if I'm in the middle of summer, like super peak time, it would be difficult because the battery starts heating up when you're using those quick chargers, right? There are some gentle quick chargers over here which take a full 30 minutes to charge the battery up, but it doesn't heat up very fast. But on the highways, service areas and things like that, those are full power chargers, and so the battery would start heating up pretty quick in the peak summertime. But yeah, this one too, most likely. I didn't talk to my dealer yet. I just found this. I was at a different Nissan charging my car, and when I was there, I saw they had an advertisement saying it's out now. You can order it now, and but there's no cars available for test driving. They'll come out next month. It's that new, and so I haven't talked to my actual dealer, my friend, about this car, and I want to find out, does it have any kind of cooling? It'd be interesting. I doubt it. But Honda's very proud of their air cooling systems, and for good reason. It keeps the car lighter, gives you more range, and blah blah blah. Price down, 23,000. This car looks pretty luxurious on the inside. Let me show you some pictures. I do have Sakura interior. So here's the one shot of it. You know what? I was at first kind of angry. I was like, oh, it's nothing like the let's see. It's nothing like the concept car. Look, it's nothing like that. It looks so different. But actually under closer looking closer at it, actually it's very similar. It's just it doesn't have this, thank goodness, it doesn't have this denim dashboard and matching steering wheel on the new one. But actually, the instrumentation is very similar to the Note, the Nissan Note, the new Note, which I did a video about as well. I have a test drive video, and I show the instrumentation. It looks just like the Note's instrumentation, basically. Boom. There it is. So it is very similar to the concept car. Concept car, all they did is made all the bezels, instead of them being black, as you see here in the picture, they're white on the concept. But it's the same instrumentation, and they even has the same shifter, which I personally am not a big fan of. I really love the joystick shifter that's on the Nissan Leaf, the first gen and second gen. I'm upset that it looks like they're phasing them out with the Aria in this car because honestly, I love that joystick shifter. It's so easy. I've got it all figured out. These things you have to you click down and stuff like that. I don't know. I just prefer the joystick. This is the shifter. It's very similar to Aria. You got your B mode. You double click it down to get the B mode stuff. Your automatic air conditioning is on the left of it. Your power button, just like on the concept of power buttons there, it's just not as the concept had like a touch sensitive panel. Kind of like the Aria, where it was just touch sensitive panel. This actually has a physical button you push to turn the car on and stuff. Let's see. One Leaf weighs roughly 1.5 Sakuras. Right. Okay, link period. Got it. Significant difference. It will have a good range, especially in Japan, even with a 20 kilowatt battery. I think so. Hi, y'all. Sorry I'm late. Oh, James Joyson. Wow, it's cool. He's joining us for a live stream. Cool. I got James, if you guys remember, if you watch, I don't know how many guys watched my epic trip in the EMV I did in October. If you guys remember that trip. And my first day when I was leaving and I was charging in Tokyo, I was really tired. I'd been up driving for about an hour and a half already, and I was exhausted. It was like just getting 5 o'clock in the morning, and he sends me a message and telling me he just found my channel and he was liking it, enjoying it, and it made my day. It just cheered me up. It's like I needed that because I knew it was going to be a long trip, and I was like. I knew it was going to be a lot of work to shoot the video for this trip. It was going to be a long one. And I was like, kind of like, geez, am I biting off more than I can chew here? And it turned out I almost did because I had no idea. How to say the camera on this thing is incredible. Don't you guys think that Aria review video was done on this camera on this phone, and it was full HDR. It's that special HDR where you can do, if you have an HDR display made for it, it can shoot it. You can watch it at 1,600 nits of brightness. It's crazy bright, and the colors are really accurate. I don't have the Pro. If I had the Pro, I'd have a better codec for recording. So the codec's it's a little more compressed video. The compression is more compressed on this phone than the Pro. The Pro's more raw format. But still, I think the video quality was just insanely good for a cell phone video. HDR is just incredible on this phone. But it also is huge. Even this compressed video is huge. And I remember I filled up my hard drive with only half my trip. I filled up my brand new computer's hard drive with only half the trip's videos on there, and I hadn't even put on the GoPro videos yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was a nightmare at first because I had to. As soon as I got done with the project, I had to erase everything, clean up my hard drive, throw everything on, and the files are so big for 1 hour of a show, of an episode. It took almost my whole hard drive with HDR, an hour of HDR. They're huge video files. Makes it fun. And then compressing an hour. So this computer, I have the new M1 MacBook Pro, but it's just the standard M1 MacBook Pro, 13-inch one, the cheaper one. And editing is fast. Dude, this thing's fast. You don't have to wait for anything. Everything's rendered instantly while you're editing. The background tasks are all done instantly. There's no waiting for something to catch up. But when you go to export for YouTube videos to put it up on YouTube, it takes 14 to 16 hours for 1 hour of video. It's murder exporting the videos on this computer. And this one's fast. But that's where those new MacBook Pros come in handy. I can't afford those. Those things are ridiculously expensive. And I was like, this thing's fast for the actual work. And then when I'm exporting, you don't do anything. It's just all happening in the background. So I could care less. Let it take a day. I don't care. So, yeah. I lost track. But anyways, yeah, thanks for joining, James. Awesome to have you. All right, let's see here. Hugh says the button in the door looks a little bit cheap. How do you think? Oh, the button's in the door. I think so too. Yeah, it's a K car, and it's $23,000 K car that's full electric. K cars over here, the gasoline ones are about the same price. My inbox was 25,000, but my inbox was 4-wheel drive. It had remote control start. It had all the bells and whistles. Like I said, it could drive itself. It had all the bells and whistles on it. So that is a standard price. So for full electric. Oh, and another thing is my inbox. So it says 180 kilometers of potential range. Now, Nissan lately has been under like Tesla oversells. They always the mileage they say their cars can get, they don't get usually. You'd have to be like perfect driving conditions. Nissan is usually the opposite. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get more than what they're in the catalog. In the catalog says 180. And some people are like 180, that's like a little over 100 miles. That's not great. Well, my inbox, because it was 4-wheel drive, the gas tank was extremely small. They're always small in the K cars, but because mine was 4-wheel drive with that drive shaft going to the back wheels, it split my tank in half. And so my gas tank was, dude, I think the best range I could get on my gasoline one was 200 miles or 200 kilometers. Just a little over 200. I had range anxiety in that thing. Because gas stations, unlike the charge stations, most charge stations are open 24 hours because you just do it yourself. You know, you have a special card, unlocks it, and you can use it yourself. Gas stations over here, you can't do that yourself. I mean, you can when they're open, but I mean, they shut them down. The gas stations close. There's not very many 24-hour gas stations in Japan. So depending where you are. Tokyo, yes. But like outside of Tokyo, like if you're in the country, no, they shut down. They close at night. So you can get range anxiety real quick in a K car at night. So that's encouraging about this new Sakura. It's not too bad. It's just a little bit under a gasoline version, and the price is identical. And the thing looks really loaded. My dealer told me the idea behind the Sakura is it's supposed to be kind of like a cheaper version, but a similar experience to the Aria. That's what they're going for. So it's going to be kind of a luxurious K car because they already took the vibrations out. You know, the K cars come with a 660cc engine, you know? I mean, motorcycles in Europe and America are like at least twice that size for normal bikes, you know? 660cc is a very small engine. And so this electric car it has way better torque. I don't know what the horsepower is. I have the stats here, and if somebody can figure it out for me, that'd be great. I don't know how to let me see. I don't know how to convert. So they're giving me the kilowatts on this car. So I can tell you right now, the battery is a 350 volt battery, 20 kilowatt hours on both ones, X or G grade, premium or not. It's all the same. It's all the same. And here we go. So you're getting 47 kilowatts of I guess that's power at and the RPMs are from 2,302 all the way up to, what is that? 10,455 RPMs. Yeah. In your newton meters of torque is 200 almost, 195 newton meters of torque, which for a K car, I think it's fair to say pretty good. Much better than what a gasoline K car puts out with 660cc engine. The inbox, the reason why I like my inbox, that is the most powerful engine of all K cars. It had the engine they made that had it has the what's it called? The VTEC. It has VTEC. It also has turbo, and it was also using direct injection. And that's why I got rid of the car. I loved that car, but Scotty Kilmer, which I like watching a lot, he hates direct injection engines. He warns about those all the time because of direct injection. The injectors get clogged up pretty easily. The engines don't last long, or they're expensive to maintain. And so he said, just don't touch them. Don't touch the Honda. The Honda has a name for it, and I looked under when he told me the name of the engine to stay away from with the Hondas, and I opened my hood and it said the same thing. I was like, oh, I got that same engine, so I got rid of my Honda. But that was the most powerful. That has the most powerful K engine of all the K cars out there. And I think this Aria, I think the Sakura is going to blow it away on power. So you're getting almost same range, but you're getting a lot more power, and it's quiet. It's going to feel luxurious. You're not going to have any road vibration, not any vibration from engine vibrations or anything like that. You're not going to have those noises. The only thing you have to worry about is tire noise, and it's going to be interesting to see how bad it is. K cars tend to be kind of noisy when you're going high speed, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I'll love to check that out. So the buttons there, I think they are. Yeah. Jason Joyce says, not seen the Aria review video yet. That my viewing tonight after I finish work. Okay, cool. I think you'll enjoy it. The video quality is insane. I made a couple mistakes. I'm going to talk about that too later on. But other than that, the car is great. I screwed up. I screwed up on the I really apologize, guys. I screwed up on my. I was really. The dealer, he had meetings to go to, not meetings, but he had other customers to meet and stuff, and we couldn't drive the car by ourselves as much as he wanted us to. He was busy. He didn't want to come with us. And he usually lets me take the car, but because it's kind of a loaner car, it's not their car, and it's such an expensive car. They were a little bit more careful about driving test drives, so he had to come with us, and I just felt like I had to rush. I was rushing, and so I screwed up everything. The true first test drive that was supposed to be B-roll with my wife and everything, I did zero everything out, but I never checked at the end. When I got back, I didn't check the numbers. The second time, which is actually the first test drive in the video you're gonna watch, James, that's when I was by myself. My wife had to work. I was by myself with the dealer later on in the afternoon, and I did check the numbers, but I didn't zero everything out right. But luckily, at least your what we call DIMPI, your driving economy, when you turn the car off and turn it back on, it resets and you start all over fresh for that at least. It also keeps a record of from when you first zeroed out the odometer to where it is now. They also have a record of that efficiency driving as well. But my efficiency driving on that particular test drive was getting a little over 6 miles to the kilowatt hour, which is really good. Really good. That car is huge. That was really good. And I was stomping on it a bit. I was testing out. I was trying to see what the acceleration was like in sport and stuff. It's okay. It's okay. Somebody wrote in the comments, and I agree with them. They said it wasn't meant to be that way. They tuned this motor. First of all, my dealer says it's a 110 kilowatt motor, which is true. And the guy had a fit. He's like, no, it's not 110 kilowatts, it's 165. That's what it can put out. Electric motors are extremely, extremely efficient. For example, the second gen Leaf has an 85 kilowatt 85 kilowatt motor, but of course its output is much higher because their electric motors are so efficient that you can push them beyond so they're rated 85 kilowatts, but you can push it further. Tesla does it all the time. When you're doing ludicrous mode, they're doubling the output of that motor, and you can do that for short bursts. It'll get hot really quick if you can't do it for too long, and also just sucks the juice right out of your battery pack. But you can do that. They're super efficient. It's not hard on the motor to be doing that once in a while. Dealers, or not dealers, but the OEMs tend to cut it down pretty low. Tesla's the only one I know of that pushes the motor as hard as they push it. Most OEMs don't want to go that far because they want the longevity. They want that motor to last as long as possible because that is wear and tear. When you double the output, you're putting wear and tear on the motor. So that's why OEMs keep them pretty low. My Leaf, my first gen Leaf, is an 80 kilowatt motor. Did you guys know? I don't know how many of you guys knew this, but your first gen Leaf, even though it's rated 80 kilowatt motor, which is true, they don't even give you that. They only give you 70 kilowatts. Did you guys know that? Your output's only 70. That's the max you can get out of that motor. They cut it out. They didn't even give you what the motor's even rated at. That motor could be doubled if they wanted to, but they even give you less. And probably the same with I'm sure the Aria is the same way. It's a 110 kilowatt motor, but they're giving you that 165 is like, punching it in that first burst and stuff, but it's not going to, I don't think it stays there. I think it goes down to a little bit better, but so I forgot what I was talking about. Let's see here. James says, will they sell it in the UK? Just starting a new job next month with less traveling. I have my 30 kilowatt hour Leaf for another year, or I might just buy my Leaf out. 50,000 miles still with full sags. Dude, that sounds good. And the 30 kilowatt hour lease, I've heard rumors about those battery packs being a little weak compared to the 24s and the 40s, but yours sounds good, man. Yours sounds like going well. I don't know. I'd probably hold on to it myself. But yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna sell because this is a collaboration. This is the Nissan and Mitsubishi worked on this together. The Mitsubishi sells it under the EK Wagon badge. Nissan sells it under the Sakura badge, which is it's still, my dealer even told me, so it's a Rook space. We said it's the base. It's the what am I looking for? The wheelbase is the same as the Days looks, and so the iMeave it made it over to UK, it made it over to America and other countries, and that like the other guy said it's less power motor, smaller battery pack, and it made over, and a lot of people loved it. A lot of people, Canadians love that thing. It is fun. It's a cute car that I still have. I like the iMeave. I would love to get a used one. Did you know those things? Their resale is actually higher over here than the Leaf. I think it's because they're cheap to own. K cars, the sales point about those, the thing that makes them better than a regular car is the tax. Your tax is way lower on a K car. It used to be $70 all we had to pay a year for the car tax. It's now $100, but still, that's my cars is the next step up. The next step up in my cars is $350. So I pay $700 a year for my two EVs. The K car is $70. It's way cheaper. The K cars, they get a discount on all the tollways. Their tolls are cheaper. They get parking them is a lot easier, and in some areas you don't even have to prove you have a parking spot to buy the K cars. So they have a lot of advantages over a standard car over here. So yeah, the iMeave has a higher resale value than the Leaf. They are good cars. They actually have a cooling for the battery. It's pretty intelligent. They use the air conditioning. They use an air conditioning in the car, and they have these vents that tunnel right through the battery pack on the iMeave. So Mitsubishi did a really good job of designing that BMS system on their car. It's pretty cool. Let's see here. Let's see. James also says, just turn the volume up, no more tire noise. True. Put a good sound system in. I don't know if you guys, I forgot to mention the Aria has a Bose out. The higher end Aria. No, that was the low end one. But it was an option. I said the Aria was $63,000, right? $63,000, I think that one was, but that was with options. And the most expensive one was that Pro Pilot. It's over $2,000 for that one alone. But then they also put in the Bose stereo system. It had I think that big sunroof they have on it. I think that's an option. I can't remember. What else did he say? But I do know what he said. He told me the options. He did. It had quite a bit. The remote control to park it with, get out of the car and let it park itself. That's an option. So it had quite a bit of options on it for the base model, and it's still 63. The Aria is actually pretty reasonable. It's really not too bad. He says amazing efficiency. Yeah, I think so. A Ioniq have 88 kilowatt motor, I think. Wow. Hugh says your Ioniq, it's only 88 kilowatt, but I mean I'm sure the output's higher than that. On that, because your car, I watched you drive. That thing can fly, man. That's a nice car. Wow, tax free here. Yeah. Japan is not. It's a misnomer if anyone thinks Japan's pro EV. It's by far probably one of the worst countries, or depending on how you look at it, best countries. Because how you look at it. If you're an anti-EV person, then you're gonna love Japan, because they're all about muscle cars and sports cars and big SUVs. The Land Cruiser is like probably one of the number one selling cars right now. The big Land Cruiser is huge, and you see it everywhere right now. They're all about gasoline. It's really hard to get people, and also the government's not even getting behind it. They don't give any tax incentives. You do get a little bit of cash back at first when you buy the car, but that's it. Their charging rates are starting to skyrocket. Other places that used to be free, they're starting to charge now. So they're just no tax break. you get with the K cars, at least you get a cheaper car tax, a yearly car tax, but it's not because it's electric, it's just because it's in the K category, KG Dosha category. The electric car, my EVs, I'm fuming about it. I have to do every 2 years on these cars. You have to do a government inspection. They call it the shotgun, and that's for your emissions and stuff. But they don't put out emissions, but I still have to pay. And you guys know that's $1,000, roughly about $1,000 per vehicle. I have 2 cars this year. I have this many kids in my school. We're struggling. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the economy is starting to go down. I had a couple students leave because the father had to move to get a job. To find a better job. And people are losing work, or their hours are getting cut really bad. So I lost a couple of kids. I'm down to 5 kids. So I'm hurting too. And school things like my kind of school, my kind of thing, we'll feel it. We're like the canary in the coal mine kind of thing. We feel the pressure from the economy and stuff quicker than anybody else, because all the public schools, the kindergartens have gone public, right? The Japanese kindergartens are all public. They started that just last year, so they're free now. So any school that's private that does like a specialty school, we feel it first, and I'm feeling it. And I have to do 2 shotguns this year. I already did the Leaf. I paid cash. Like I say, I had the money. I paid cash on the Leaf. The van I have to do in July. Not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to that. Why do I have to pay? The car doesn't put out emissions. Why do I have to do those stupid tests and stuff? It's ridiculous. Japan should incentivize EVs as much as they do for K cars. Right. Maybe then the charging infrastructure would evolve and be modernized. Right. We have, you were over here. We have a fairly good charging infrastructure. Here's the numbers. This is a small island, guys. It's a fairly good sized country, but it's an island. And we have, what is that? That's almost 60,000 chargers throughout Japan. Depending on how, that one of those numbers is highway, the charges at the service areas. Another one I think the other one's, that one is Michino Eki, I think. And then the 30,000, I think that's dealerships. I'm sure that's probably the dealerships. So altogether combined, you have almost 60,000 chargers. However, if you're lucky, you get 2 at a location. That's the part that sucks. They should have 4 or 5 at each location, because there have been cases where there's only 1 charger and I have to charge. I've driven the car, as far as I could, trying to milk everything out of that battery, and now I need to charge it. I get to the charger, no problem, but there's a line of 4 cars in front of me, each car taking 30 minutes to charge, because we have a strict rule. If people are waiting, you only do 30 minutes, and then you have to get out and go around if you need more time. So what is that? That's 4 cars. That's 2 hours I have to wait just to charge my car. That sucks. And it's happened to me one time. And I vowed never do that again. So I don't get my car down that low. When my car gets to about 40% or 38%, I charge. That way I have a big buffer. If I go somewhere and there's a line, see ya, I'm out of here. I don't put up with that crap anymore. But yeah, we have tons of chargers. Like, I showed Elaine he saw it. I showed him I know he remembers what I'm talking about. I showed him the map, and there's a little blue, it looks like a gasoline thing, but with a power plug, and it's a little blue thing. And it was like, it was filled the screen. It's like, if the charger's being used here, you just go like a couple blocks over here, you got another one, and over here, you got another one, you got another one over here. They're just, especially in Tokyo, they're everywhere. It's just not a problem getting a charger. It's just, I wish they would have like at least 2 at each location. It gives you a little bit better odds if you've drained your battery so low, but whatever, what are you gonna do? Most places in Scotland charge now, except for a town where I stay. Yeah, I just watched another guy. He made an interesting video. You probably know what I'm talking about. I know, maybe that was Ireland. Oh, that was Ireland, I'm sorry. There was a guy from Ireland. He has a Tesla Model 3, and he's done. He had a Honda E, and he's like, nah, this isn't working for me. So he got a 3, and he realized it's still not working for him, because the chargers are so, it's just, there's parts of England where they're still hurting for chargers, man. Or I guess, what is it, UK? I don't know what to say. It's like, There's so many. I'm not from that area, and there's like so many ways of saying it. UK, England. What's the other one? There's one more. Anyways, let's just say UK. UK, because I think that's Scotland, Ireland, and England, right? The UK is there's some areas that are really good, but other areas it's pretty bad, and that's how it feels sometimes over here. So yeah. So what was I going to talk? Oh, the Aria that the video I made. So I screwed up on the test drive. Sorry about that. Good news. I'm going to talk to him later. He felt really bad because he knew I wanted to do a good job, and 2 kilometers each time. Well, it was 3.3 kilometers each time. You can't do much. It's going to be really hard to get a good estimate of range on a test drive like that. So he's saying, I think we're going to get the car back in a couple weeks, within a couple weeks. Maybe, he said, maybe I can get you longer. So I'm going to pursue that. I'm going to try to get I want to do a range test. I'm going to see if you'll let me borrow the car for a day, or at least half a day. And I'm going to take the same trip I took with the Nissan Leaf. Not the one where I know one guy said he liked the video of my daughter falling asleep, bored out of her mind. She's sleeping in the car and she freaks out when she wakes up. He likes that one. That was when I went to Tokyo with the Leaf. But before I went to Tokyo with the Leaf, I did do a trip down to the southern tip of Chiba, Tateyama area, and I came back. I remember that because on my first Gin Leaf, I can go down there, but I have to charge before I can come back. But the second Gin Leaf was a 40 kilowatt one. I went down there and came back, and I still had a little bit of juice left. It was pretty impressive. But that was the video where when I was charging it, this was in October, and I was charging it. It was kind of cool out, and it was taking. One thing, it was taking forever to charge it. Then the second thing was I watched that battery temp just skyrocket real quick. And of course, you can't say anything. I mean, if you want to keep making videos and getting cars and stuff, you can't be too strong. But I was as subtle as possible, but also trying to let people know before this battery gate became a thing back then. I was trying to warn people. It was like, I think there's a problem. Because that thing... that temperature just shot up so fast. It was ridiculous. And I think it was only at 50%. And I had to charge again. I was like, that's too hot. I'm gonna take it home and charge on the home charger the rest of the charge. If you guys watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I was saying things like, this isn't, I don't know about, I was doing that. It's the best I could do. And I made another video, but I stopped it. I turned it off for a while. I had another video where it's like, this is before it became a thing, before the UK people made I think it was Europe that made the hashtag, what was it? Battery gate, charge gate, whatever it was on the Leaf. I didn't call it anything like that. I was just talking about the temperature jumping up. But anyways, I made a video talking about when I was driving my blue van. I was driving around. I was like, no, I think I did it in a different video on purpose. I didn't do it in the video where I was actually test driving the car. I did another video with my blue van when I was in my blue van driving around, and I was talking about. I was like, "Gee, I'm really concerned about the battery on the new Leaf. It gets hot really fast just from one charge. So if you're in the summertime, it wasn't even summer. This was October. I was thinking, gosh, you want to go like 800 kilometers or 600 kilometers in that car, and it's peak summer. You're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to make it. I was like, dang. So I was really concerned about it. I couldn't say anything, though. And then finally it came out from Europe. Europe started talking about it, and then I could talk more freely about it. But I had to wait. I remember that. So I'd like to see how the Aria does on charging, because luckily there's another dealership up this way. So the dealership I go is straight that way. It's where my dealership is. Where I take touch drive. But if I go this way, there's another dealership even closer, right up this hill up here. They got the new 90 kilowatt charger, the new one made for the Aria. So I'd love to try that out. I'd like to take a trip down to Tateyama and then back. And I don't even care if I start at 80%. I don't mind. 80% or 100%, because I don't drive my 7-year-old Leaf with the 10 segs, 24 kilowatt hour battery pack. I don't ever charge that to 100%. It's only 80 days. Max, I'll charge it at 85, 86%. I don't even charge to 90. I don't want to be hard on the battery. And also, I think everybody knows by now that once you get past 90%, your range doesn't really go that much further because you lost all your regen. The regen's gone. So you have a little bit extra range, but what does it work out to? Like 8, 10 miles? Like, so what? Yeah. Proper roach and Aria would be awesome. Better review material. I think so too. Rapidgate. That's what they were calling it. Rapidgate. Yeah. And I don't know who coined it, but it was definitely from the UK. I'm pretty sure it was from the UK. There was a couple guys. There was the other James. I like the other James. Lemon Tea Leaf. His name's James as well. He's from Scotland, and I kind of give him a bad time because he's a Scottish guy, but he has the Asian face, and it's got the Scottish accent, and it's hilarious to me. He's a super nice guy, sweetheart of a guy, and he loves EVs, and he's got a kind of job where he can afford to pop on. So he's up to a Ioniq now, and it's a nice car. He's got a really nice car now, but he went through a couple other models before he got to that. But yeah, he started off with he got the second gen Leaf when it first came out, and he was like taking all kinds of data, and I think he started it. Pretty sure he did. So he and I were on the same page pretty quickly. Let's see here. Bjorn made verbs out of those. Did he? Does it Coldgate? Does it Rapidgate? I never heard of Coldgate, but I like that. Neologisms? I like that, Aileen Pierre. Neologisms. Never heard of that term. I like that. Thank you for teaching me something. Neologisms. I like that. I learned a new term, guys. Does it Coldgate? Does it Rapidgate? Bjorn, he's got moments. He makes me laugh pretty hard. I like Bjorn. I miss his old days. But everything has to change over time. My channel is very different since from the beginning. Well, actually, it's not. I'm an old fart. I don't bend very well. I'm pretty rigid, but I'm pretty much the same. But I am trying new things. I'm doing live streams now. Man, I would have never thought of doing that 5 years ago, like 6 years ago. Well, maybe I did do it. I don't know. I'm not really comfortable with the live streams. My brain, I don't know. Because of my Asperger's, it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I do it. Because I want to get the stuff out. I want to clear up the mistakes I made on the Aria and things like that. I screwed up a couple. I had to put I said 3 driving modes. I said Eco, Standard, and Pro Pilot. I caught that one. Luckily, I was able to superimpose Sport. But yeah, I did make a few mistakes. What else did I say about? What else was there? Aria, I didn't get to show you guys at the beginning. Some of you guys got to see at the beginning. Let's play it one more time real quick. There's 5 people now. Woo! All right, I'm doing good tonight. So I got 5 people watching. Let me play the promo video. I made a new promo video, and what I used was all the stuff that I either forgot to put in or just didn't have space to fit it in. So I got some other B-roll that I didn't put in, like showing like the sunroof is really cool. The shade first, the headliner that you can roll back. It has 2 stages. You push the button, it goes back halfway, and then you push it again to go all the way back. Same thing with closing it. It stops in the midway point, and then you have to push it again and close it. And the sunroof you can actually tilt it, or it'll move back as well. Only halfway. It won't go all the way back. It'll open up halfway though. It's pretty cool, and I've got some other stuff in there showing I forgot to show the USB ports in the front. I'm showing that. I'm showing the wireless charging, which is cool. I tried my phone. It does work. You put it on there. There's a little thing on your armrest that lights up, lets you know your phone's charging there. It's pretty cool. According to this other guy, I watched his video, but this is from Europe. I don't know if Japan's got the same thing because we don't have the table that pops out when you hit the button on the armrest, and not a table, but the glove compartment, the middle glove compartment. It's a power one on the high end model over in Europe. They don't offer that over here, I don't think, and for good reason. That's a gimmick, and I can see that thing just breaking and just being a pain in the butt in the future. Also, the guy showed it. I mean, the guy that I watched that was in Europe doing it on a test track. He was on a test track, test driving the Aria. He showed it, and sure enough, the thing couldn't even close all the way. There was a nasty gap in the dash when he closed it. It didn't close all the way. It's janky. It's janky. So they over here they just use you push the button, it opens up. But he also said that there's some tricks you can do I didn't know that on the infotainment you can, like, if you have something there, you can swipe it and it'll swipe right over to your other instrumentation. I haven't tried that. I would like to see if he's telling the truth about that. I don't think so. I don't think you can do that, but he says you can. Like, you should be able to swipe something over, like you're going through your radio station, or like over here in Japan we have TV tuners. We have we have digital TV tuners in our cars, so you can watch TV, and suppose you can flip it over to your instrumentation. I don't think so. I'd like to try that out though. What else? So anyways, let's watch that video. Sorry. Let's watch the video. Let's see. How do you start it? That's showing all the chargers and like how to look for chargers and stuff. You can turn on and off stuff. There's a sunroof. All right. Yeah, so that's some of the stuff I just couldn't fit in the review video. Does anybody have any questions while I'm here? Pick 6. Hey, buddy. I just saw I checked out your video. You put your video just before I was going on my live stream, so I couldn't watch the whole thing about the bananas. I can't wait to check that out more. Guys, this is Pick 6. He's a good friend of mine. Another YouTuber. He makes some pretty interesting content. Takes trips in cars and stuff. He doesn't have an EV right now. He'd love to get one, but in his situation, he's just not there yet. But he does homesteading as well. Check out his channel. It's very interesting. It's good stuff. Finally caught your live stream. Yeah, exactly. Bananas. Yeah, I checked it out. I liked it. I couldn't finish it. I'm gonna finish it later. You put it out just when I was about to get my live stream going. Yeah, he's a good friend. So let's see. Anybody have any questions? Does Aria have air suspension? No, it does not have air suspension. It's Mac and McPherson struts. It's good. Because of its weight and because I have that EMV with the leaf springs. It's got the leaf springs in the back. It feels really luxurious. Now, I don't know. I have driven quite a few Lexuses and Benzes and BMWs over here. Through friends, it's a big deal. Like in the Tokyo area, I found this other Japanese, this foreigner living in Japan doing YouTube videos, and he's huge. He's got like 2 million subscribers, and he was telling everybody, he's like, "Oh no, German cars aren't popular over here. No, just Japanese cars." No, that's not true. He just doesn't live in my area. If you live in the Tokyo area, if you have a car, it's going to be, if most people in Tokyo, it's Audi, BMW, Benz, or Volkswagen. It's the German cars. And also Porsche. You see Porsche quite a bit too. But probably the most common car besides Audi would be... That's tough. Mercedes-Benz is probably right after Audi, and then BMW. There's a lot. And so I've driven a lot of cars, and I feel the Aria has just as good of a ride. It feels just as good as those cars. Seriously, you don't feel the bumps. And we have some weird streets because of all the earthquakes and stuff. It kind of makes the streets get kind of rolly. So they'll get uneven and stuff. And also from the semi trucks will actually put grooves in the ground from where their tires go, and you just don't feel it like you do in any of the other cars. So the ones I have. So Jane says hi again. Hi. Oh, he's saying hi to Pixix. Okay. German cars must be really expensive. Oh, yeah. Any car is expensive. We pay way more for our own Japanese domestic cars than you guys have to pay. I don't know why. Japan's just expensive. The cars are ridiculous. When I see the prices over in America for a Leaf or UK for a Leaf, I was like, oh, man, that'd be nice. Like I said, until this new Sakura came out, there were no cars under $50,000 over here. Well, technically the Leaf is, but after tax, licensing, and options, it's $50,000. It's $50,000 for a Leaf. After you get the stuff you want, you're gonna want ProPilot. If you buy the electric car, you're gonna want the ProPilot. Most people do. What else do people get when they get the electric car? I mean, they're gonna want the... I don't really care about the tire size, but a lot of people do. So you have to get the top grade model to get the 17s. It costs extra, So this is finally, for $23,000, you can get yourself a car with similar range to the first gen Leaf and more room on the inside than the first gen Leaf or second. This has way more room than the Leaf. It's very roomy on the inside. You don't have much of a trunk, but your leg room is ridiculous in it. Okay. And it's much more maneuverable. So there's a lot of really old like streets that samurai would walk on, famous streets that was samurai, like they're famous for samurai. They even say Samurai Alley. They have famous streets, and they're so narrow. It was just for rickshaws and samurai, and now people use their cars, and these are the only things about the only thing that can fit on those streets and stuff. So yeah. See here. Dana says just as expensive. They don't want anyone to drive in Japan. Right. You know that. I heard that. That was a theory I learned from another foreigner living over here. That's why they're so strict about everything. That the driver's test... Just get a driver's license over here if you're a Japanese person. It's about... What is it? $1,300, $1,600 to get your license, to go to school and get your license. If you're just getting standard driver's license. And then the cars are expensive, and then they charge, so the tolls are ridiculous. To go from here to Osaka, which is like, that would be like a normal, that was like a day, that was like a simple trip from going from my mom's house to my father's house over in Pendleton, Oregon. From Seattle to Pendleton, Oregon, it's about the same distance. And I could do it like 4 hours, and I can do it over here. I can do it in 4 hours. You're not supposed to. You go to speed limit, it takes about 6, but I do it in about 4 hours. So if I'm tired, I'll But I used to. I mean, I don't do it anymore because the tolls are so expensive. It cost, what was it? This is when it was discounted. It's not even discounted right now. They took away the discounts. They don't want you traveling. They even said, government's like saying that. We don't want you traveling. But when there were discounts, it was still over $100 just to go. What was that? It worked out. It was 500 kilometers. So it's like a little over 300 miles. Go 300 miles, it costs you $100 one way. Yeah, they make it as pain in the butt. That's why there's shotguns, and you have to pay so much for a shotgun twice every 2 years, and you have taxes every year. You got the car tax every year, which is ridiculously high, and they go by your engine size over here. So if you have just a 4-banger little, 1.5 liter to 2 liter, you're okay. Anything after that, it starts skyrocketing. Like, I know the people with German cars, they're paying $800 a year on tax. And it doesn't, like on America, as your car ages, your tabs go down, right? Not over here. Never changes. You're still paying really high tax no matter how old your car is. They don't want you driving. My foreign friend that claimed he knew so much about Japanese culture, he claimed that it goes back to the old days where only the royal, only the shogun and the samurai were allowed to travel and the peasants couldn't. And they actually had passports for each ken, for each prefecture. You had to have a passport to go from one prefecture to the other prefecture back in the olden days. And they don't have the passport system anymore, but they still don't really want the common people to be traveling around too much. That's what I was told. I don't know if that's true. You hear a lot of weird stuff from foreigners trying to be, big shot know-it-alls. I will not put my name next to that. That's just what he said. They don't want to. Toll roads suck. Yeah, they do. Over here, everything's a toll road. You do everything, dude. There's bridges over here. I don't know if they still exist, but when I first came over here, back in the '90s and early 2000s, there were bridges famous for being $100 just to cross the bridge. The toll was $100 just to cross it. I'm not sure if those things still exist because of the economy the way it is now. But yeah, it was $100 to cross a bridge. And the Aqualine. I use the Aqualine once in a while because it goes from you go from Chiba all the way over to Kawasaki, just you go underneath the Tokyo Bay, which is really cool, but also scary as heck, because you're going down underneath Tokyo Bay in earthquake country, and I mean, it goes down deep, but I mean, geez, if the earthquake was strong enough, I still think you might have a catastrophe waiting to happen on the Aqualine. But yeah, you go down really deep, you go underneath the Tokyo Bay, you come in Kawasaki pretty fast. If you go the old-fashioned way, drive around to get there, that's a 2-hour trip. But if you take the thing, it takes 15, 20 minutes. So it's pretty cool. I do use that, but that's $40 one way. $40 just to go one way on that. So it's crazy. And gas, yeah. Gas prices are ridiculous. They're finally going down. I'm getting excited, but they're still really expensive. But at least they're not 170 yen a liter anymore. They're 160 yen a liter, which is better. It's going down. It's getting better. The gas prices are way more expensive than America, except for California. California's about $6 a gallon, right? That's about what we're paying if you go by gallons. Cheaper to ride a bike. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why they have a good train system. Although the trains are extremely expensive too. You want to take a quick train or bullet train. They call them bullet trains. The Shinkansen. You want to take a Shinkansen from Tokyo Eki to Osaka, where I think it's no stops. That's why that's still over $100 a person. So you take a family of 5. Ouch. That's one way. So trains aren't very cheap either. But yeah. In Holland here, no road tax for EV. Yeah. In America, like especially in California, you get federal tax rebate, you get state tax rebate, and you get city tax rebate in Cali. So I mean, by the time you get done with the rebates, your $40,000 car is now $20,000. I mean, it's ridiculous what you get over there. But no, we don't even get much of a rebate anymore. They did raise it back up. Like I talked about that last stream. They raised it back up, and then what does Tesla do? They just jacked their cars up, their prices up. I was excited. Because these cars are coming from China, the Model 3s come from China now. I was excited. They were finally getting kind of close to what you guys are paying. Not exactly. We're still about 10 grand more than you guys. But no, that didn't last long. They jacked it back up. It's almost 70,000 start now. 63,000 for the base model. No options. I mean, we're talking bare bones. Base Model 3, 63,000. That's why I was talking about in that video. If I bought the Model 3, baseline Model 3, and put the options in that similar to what the Aria had, it'd be way more expensive than the Aria at 63,000. And the Aria is way bigger. And I know the 3 still has better range because it's a smaller car. And I think it's got even a bigger battery pack now. And they've also tuned it. Did you guys notice that? I didn't even notice that. But when I was rewatching the stream, making sure it worked okay, when I was showing the difference, I had a screenshot from my, about half a year ago when I took a screenshot of the Model 3 because the price was so low. I was going to talk about it in one of my streams, and I never did. And then I took a screenshot just recently, like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was showing the price difference, but I didn't realize this. The speed they tweaked the tuning on the new Model 3 to give it more range. They show higher range on it than 6 months ago, but your 0 to 60 time, or 0 to 100 kilometers if you're going by kilometers, way slower. So they tweaked they tuned it differently. So it's not even as fast as the previous one, and it costs way more money. Whoop-de-doo. So yeah. How do I know so much about California? Are you getting mad at me? I have family, but not just that. I watched. Who was I watching? I watched this guy that has a Hunter Cup. He has a Hunter Cup C125, and he just raves about it. And he was talking about the gas prices. And somebody else. It was in the comments. Somebody else mentioned it. Right now, California is $6 a gallon. It's like, dang, that's us. That's the only reason I remember, because we're the same. If you work it out to gallons, we're $6 a gallon, which is. But our gas tanks, even on our full-size cars, our gas tanks are smaller than. We don't have to travel. We're in a smaller country, right? And so they put a smaller gas tank so you don't feel the pain so much, right? It's a scam. So American cars, they have to have bigger tanks because it's much more. You have to cover more ground, right? America's just huge compared to Japan, and so they put bigger tanks in. And so when you fill that thing up at $6 a gallon, you feel it if you fill it up. If you fill it up, that hurts. Over here, it's still like, it's like $80-$90 to fill it up. But yeah, smaller tanks, most of the cars. K cars have teeny tanks, very teeny. I think they're 7 gallons max on the K cars. That's why a gasoline K car, I was just talking about that earlier. Some of you guys didn't probably hear it. Gasoline K car and this electric K car are almost the same in range. So in the gasoline K cars, you will have range anxiety in the gas K car more than this one. And like I said earlier, you guys weren't around. These things, we have chargers. Where is it? We have chargers in Japan. We have almost 60,000 chargers over here, electric chargers throughout Japan. And most of them are 24 hours because you do it yourself. You have a card, it turns it on, and you do it yourself. You don't need anybody around. You don't have to pay anybody. It's going through your credit card. You just like that, and it goes through your credit card. So where's the charger? But gas stations over here, especially in the rural areas, they close. They close early, dude. I've been out like on Sunday drives. On Sunday, a lot of gas stations are closed all day. And I've been on a motorcycle. My motorcycle's got a teeny little tank. And even though I get really good gas mileage when I'm by myself, if I have my wife on the back, which we do a lot of riding together, you can freak out. You can go, you'll pass the gas station, it's closed. Another one closed. And it's like you have to get to the main roads to get to the ones that are open on Sunday. If you're up in the mountains and the hills, you're not going to find one open. So you actually have more range anxiety in a K car, especially at night, than in a gas K car than this electric one. And the range is almost the same. This thing's probably about 200 kilometers. And my inbox was a K car with a 660cc engine. That was I think it was 220 kilometers of range in that, at the best. I had terrible range anxiety in that thing sometimes at night because I'd be out in the middle of nowhere and I was like, I need to get gas. And I learned fairly quickly that gas stations closed early. So whenever it got to the quarter tank mark, I would start looking at quarter tank. And these things are extremely fuel efficient. The inbox I had got 24 miles to the liter. That's crazy. That's like really close to 100 miles to the gallon. It really did really well. And I was I treat it gingerly. And I'd go and start freaking out. I start panicking. The dash light would come on, the gas tank would show up, the gas pump would show up on the dash. I was like, but yeah. I think it would be better off an electric car in that regard. Japan using nuclear power. Yes, Japan still using nuclear power. As a matter of fact, Ibaraki, which is right borders with Chiba, they have Fukushima is shut down right now, but Ibaraki is still going. We have a huge nuclear power plant not too far, maybe 100 miles from my house over there. Ibaraki is kind of famous for some terrible nuclear accidents that happened before Fukushima, where they had these guys filling up a big, they called it a bucket, but I saw the video later on YouTube. There's a YouTube documentary about the accident, and it doesn't look like it, but they called a bucket, and they were putting, I think they were putting, because it was the place where they make the plutonium for the reactors, and they were putting the materials in there, and they were overfilling it. They just crammed and crammed and crammed. They just kept cramming more and more materials in there, and it went nuts. And two guys they just got cooked, and didn't die right away. In fact, they looked normal. Basically, they had a sunburn. It looked like they had a sunburn, but they felt fine. They were talking fine, but their bodies deteriorated so fast because it just wiped out all their cells. Their white blood cells, everything was just fried, and their bone marrow was fried. And they tried bone marrow transplants, and it was disgusting how they pretty much just melted away. It was really gross. Yeah, that was a famous one. I was over here. That was like 97, 98. And I remember after that accident, they were just making plutonium. And it was such a bad explosion. I'm like 100 miles away, and they were saying, do not go outside. Close all your windows. Keep your doors closed. Don't go outside if you don't have to. Because this radiation was flying around, they said. And I remember that accident. So we have quite a few accidents over here because of Japan. I've talked about this in many videos. Japan doesn't have good They don't have good government regulations, really. The government doesn't really pay attention. For example, before Fukushima accident, we had the International Nuclear Committee come over. I think they're from France. Most of them were from France. They did a tour of Fukushima's reactor, and they said, dude, what the heck, man? There was like spent raws lying around. The generators were at sea level. The backup generators were at sea level. They're like, what are you doing? Your backup generators have to be higher. If you have a tsunami, which you guys get all the time, if you have a tsunami, you're going to wipe out your backup generators. How are you going to cool the, blah, blah, blah. And they had a whole list of things they had to do. And the government says, okay, we'll make sure they do it by a certain amount of time. Government didn't do it. They didn't follow through. And of course, the company was just they keep cutting corners because of money. They want as much money as possible. And so they just kept cutting corners. And then we had the big earthquake. They had the tsunami. And then those generators got wiped out. And so they had no way of cooling. And that's how we had the meltdowns on the reactors because no electricity. And a whole bunch of guys that they called this, what was it? There was a term. They made a term for these 9 brave men that stayed behind trying to reactivate the cooling and stuff like that. And they got fried when those things blew. It's always through, it's through negligence. Every accident they've ever had was negligence. It's not. You can't blame the earthquake on it. You really can't. It's just negligence and just cutting corners, being cheap as heck. They do it all the time, dude. I don't know how many times since I've been over here for 25 years now. How many times they've busted these gigantic companies, dumping toxic waste in just out in the middle of nowhere, just trying to throw it out because it costs too much to get rid of it properly. A lot of times it's these third-party companies. So these big companies that create things and make toxic waste, they'll hire these companies. They'll pay these companies big money to take that toxic waste and dispose of it correctly. Either dispose of it or recycle it or whatever and do it correctly. Well, that costs a lot of money, and they want as much money as possible. So what they do is they take their trucks out in the middle of the night, find a place, and they just throw it out and let it go right into the water table. And they do it all the time. So you got problems with that all the time. Japan's got issues. They've got issues, not just their nuclear power plants. Japan is the worst country. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Japan's the worst country for pesticides. It uses the most pesticides, the most toxic pesticides in the world. They're banned from any other country, but Japan still uses them. And as a matter of fact, they force it. The government forces the farmers to use it. If a farmer wants to go organic, they won't get supported and they can't make a living. It's pretty bad. Japan also has some of the worst laws for additives and preservatives and things like that in your food. So a lot of food is not safe to eat over here. You have to be careful and stuff like that. Yeah. So interesting. Let's see here. Got to pack a sleeping bag when you run out of gas. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm way behind the comments. James Joyce says, "Shh, James, don't blame the wife. It will end badly." No, well, she never watches my streams. She's bored of She's bored of me. Crazy. James Joyce says, "Poor guys." Pixix, they like to really regulate the cars, but not the energy. Right. Exactly, Pixix. James Joyce says, "That's crazy." Elaine Pierre, found on Wikipedia. Look for Togo nuclear access. Right, you got it. You found it. James Joyce says, "Cheers." Okay. Pixix says, "I wonder if the cancer rates are through the roof in Japan." Yeah, you think? Yeah. Okay. Another thing that's through the roof is aneurysms. Through the roof over here. Aneurysms are through the roof. I think that's through the pesticides and the foods and stuff. My father-in-law suffered that. He was 61, 62. And he had a pain in his leg for the longest time. He had a really bad pain in his leg, but he kept working. He kept saying, "Go to the hospital. If it's that bad, you should go to the hospital." He just kept working. He's a hard worker. And what he would do is he'd soak his foot. His foot would get cold on one side, and he was soaking in hot water all the time. He said it made him feel better. And one night, it was really bad. So he went in to soak his foot, and all of a sudden, something popped. He had an aneurysm. What happened is his blood vessel swelled up, and it was putting pressure on the rest of the thing, so the blood wasn't flowing good in his leg. That's why his foot was getting cold. And then it popped. And so at first, it's like when you sleep on your arm for a long time, and you get up, and you move, and it just pins and needles and hot and everything. It hurts. That's what happened at first. He was excruciating pain because his muscle tissue was dying. He wasn't getting good circulation for 2 or 3 days. It was pretty gross. And so he was in extreme pain. But then he was also, it was bleeding out. He was bleeding out from the inside. So they rushed him to the hospital. And because of his age and everything, and because of national insurance over here, they felt like he wasn't a priority. And the doctor was over in Tokyo. He wasn't a priority. So they didn't even call the doctor. He's like, it's too far away. And so we had to just watch him bleed to death. Internally bleed to death on the table. Sucked. But yeah, that in the same time, 2 other people that we knew, same thing. One had an aneurysm in their heart, another one in their brain. It's crazy. Another famous guy. That famous guy I really love from Mononoke, the guy that sings, I think he's gay, Japanese guy that sings the song to Mononoke. He had an aneurysm, brain aneurysm. But because he's kind of famous, they did rush the doctors. He got treated. I think he's okay. But his manager found him unconscious on the floor in his apartment because he was late for work. And so they came over to his apartment, checked on him, and sure enough, he was unconscious. They rushed him to the hospital. They rushed they rushed doctors because he's got money. He's famous. And so they did the work on him, and he survived his aneurysm. But happens a lot. I think that's from the pesticides. And yeah, and cancer is extremely high over here. Cancer rate. Of course, it doesn't help that every time they make you, if you work for any company, they make you do every year you have to do a health inspection, and they still make you do a tuberculosis test using X-rays. Every year you have to get an X-ray. Messed up. Anyways, I am off later. See the playback. Okay. Oh, I'm off later. Okay. Hugh, see you, buddy. In the playback. Bye, buddy. And then welcome back, buddy. There you go. My grandma had an aneurysm. Oh, okay. Japan has a lot of problems. Yeah, unfortunately. It's just... A lot of it stems from greed. Like another thing that's really big over here, it's hilarious. Recycle shops. And I'm not talking the ones, I always talk about the recycle shops. They call them recycle shops, and they're secondhand stores, and they just jack the price up to pretty much a new price. I'm talking the places where they're supposed to recycle like heavy equipment and stuff like that. And they're all over my prefecture because it's countryside. And what they do is they put these gigantic, humongous steel walls. They have these huge reinforced steel walls that go up, I don't know, 30, 40 meters high. They're really high. And then they're supposed to be recycling these materials. And they get paid a lot of money. But once again, because of corruption, because of greed, what they do is they just start shoving it in there. All these, like, whatever, industrial grade parts and materials and things, and they just keep shoving in there, shoving in there. And you'll see the owners of these things, and they'll be driving around that big Mercedes-Benz SUV, that ugly thing that's the most expensive car you can find over here in Japan. They'll be driving around that. They wear their suit, they got those expensive suits, and they have tons of cars and tons of houses because they're just greedy. They're spending all the money on themselves. They're not actually recycling. They're just putting it somewhere. And what they do is when they can't shove anything more in there, boop, they hightail out of the country. And that happens a lot over here. It's just a lot of greed and corruption over here, unfortunately. James says, oh my gosh. Pixis, start growing your own food. Yes, guys. Listen to Pixix and listen to me. Grow your own food. Food shortages are a real thing. It's already happening. Have you guys noticed that all the food that you can really afford is the stuff that's not good for you? There's a reason for that. And that's true. Grow your own food. It's a great way to supplement your income too. It helps. And it's so dang easy. It's so dang easy. It's amazing. I did it. I grew my own food when I could. We used to have a little bit of farmland over in near Narita Airport, and because it was my wife's grandfather's property. After he passed away, his son took it over and kicked us off the property, so we couldn't grow anymore over there. But yeah, it's really easy. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. I grew, the first year I ever grew anything, I grew everything. Pumpkins, watermelon, peanuts, soybean, corn. We had everything. And I didn't use any pesticides. I was out there by hand, just taking care of everything. Picking the bug, picking the weeds. I was using like organic stuff to take care of the bugs, keep the bugs away and stuff. Yeah, it's really not hard. Yeah, grow your own food. Only the great and the good get proper treatment. Yeah. In this world, yeah, there's a word for it. I can't remember the term. We need a garden tour. Yes, garden tour at your house. I don't have a garden. This is all cement. My house is my school, and so I had to make as much room for parking as possible. I have no yard. Zero. I mean, you know what property's like in Japan. You use about 90% of your property just for your house, and then you have 10% left for parking, usually. And that's pretty much what I do with this. It's all cement outside. And I did do some gardening on my third floor balcony, but every year when I had to redo the dirt and everything, it's just, dude, it's just too hard. Three flights up, and it's dangerous, the stairs, and it makes a mess. I'm tracking dirt through the house and stuff. It just wasn't working, so I gave up on that. My wife was so happy when I did, because I was growing tons of stuff up there. I was growing cucumbers, and what we do upstairs, we were doing eggplant, cucumbers, tomatoes, both mini and regular, and soybeans. I was growing all this upstairs, and I loved it. We did, once again, easy peasy. It's so easy. It's really so easy. So, but yeah, I don't have it. Can you put containers in pots? Yeah, like I said, I was doing that, and it was just too much work on the next year. The first year, no problem. You got all the stuff up there. The dirt's new, fresh dirt's great. Then you have to start, after you use it, you got to start doing things, right? You got to, the Japanese, they tell you got to cook it. You got to cook the dirt, heat it up, and and that helps speed up the process of some of the things that needs to be done. Also, you have to add things to it. You just got to, you got to do all these things so the dirt still has enough nitrogen in it, all that crap. And when you're working out of planters and stuff, it's kind of a pain. So I stopped. I missed having I had a big farm property we could use. Now my uncle over in, he lives near the ocean, but he's still up in the hills, kind of. He has a beautiful farm property, and he's always saying you can use as much as you want, but that's a hour and a half away from my house, so I wouldn't be able to go out there every day. I'd have to go like on the weekends and stuff. And he also, where he lives, there's a lot of wild pigs and tons of suzumebachi, and we go out there and we help him harvest things sometimes, and I couldn't get over how many suzumebachi. I mean, they're everywhere, and I mean, I'm extremely phobic to bees because when I was little, I stepped in a yellow jacket hive and I was covered from head to toe, and just covered. I couldn't even hear. My friend was standing like 2 feet away from me. I couldn't even hear him. There was so much buzzing going on, and I got stung so bad, and I was traumatized by that. So I'm not really good around bees, and these suzumebachi are like this big, and they make the most horrifying sound when they fly, and their stings are famous for killing people every year over here. So I'm not really a big fan of I do want to do it, but his property, I don't know why. I've never seen so many suzumebachi you know, those big bees, those like the bald faced hornets, I think they're called over in America. I haven't seen so many of those ever in my life over here. Scare the heck out of me. I've gotten hit in the chest by a couple of those things while riding my motorcycle with my big motorcycle jacket zipped up, and they'll hit your chest. And I've got those chest plates in, you know, protective. You have protective gear inside built into the jacket, so I don't have to worry about getting stung by them. But man, it hurts. It feels like you're getting hit by like a giant rock. They're so huge, man. They're so huge. Wild pig hunting. Yeah, no doubt. You know, you hear a lot of gunfire. Believe it or not, people think that guns are illegal. No, a lot of people, you can own a gun. I can't. I'm a foreigner, but my wife can get a permit. She can get a gun. You can get guns over here. There's gun ranges right up in the hills over here in Chiba. I mean, you got firing ranges to practice. Shotgun's like the most popular one, but you can get guns. Yeah. It's just a little trickier, you know. And I couldn't bring any over. When my dad passed away, I inherited all of his guns, and a lot of them he made himself, and I couldn't bring any of them over. Broke my heart. I had to sell his guns, and because he's not a famous gunsmith, I didn't get much money. But the gun shop that I sold them to, they were flipping out because my dad was a true artist with gunsmithing, and they were flipping out. They couldn't believe the quality of the bluing and the woodwork and everything. Really impressed with the work he did on these black powders and stuff. And so I had to give it all up, though. I have nothing. I couldn't bring in black. I couldn't even bring black powder over here. You know, maybe if it was a Japanese, maybe I could have figured it out. But as a foreigner, there's no way they're gonna let a foreigner have any kind of, even a black powder over here in this country. But Japanese, yeah, there's guns. They can have guns, and the farmers have guns for sure, especially shotguns to scare the monkeys away. They have a terrible problem with wild pigs and monkeys eating their crops, big time over here. Holy cow, that is big. Soap and water can kill them, I think. Soap and water can kill pigs? I don't know what you're talking about. Not sure. I guess bow and arrow hunting the pig. Oh. You should have stored those guns in public storage. They'll go bad, you know. You can pack them in grease as best as you can, but they will go bad if you just leave them in public storage. I know they're fairly humid, you know, they have climate control on those things, but I just remember my father was constantly working on those guns to keep them from rusting. You'd be surprised, even a blued gun, even a gun that's been blued, because these are black powders. They're a different steel than the modern guns. So even with the bluing and stuff, you can start getting pits and stuff. You can start getting rust. So you were constantly working on them. You were constantly cleaning them and sometimes re-bluing them and stuff with the black powders. But yeah, if you watch my video where I went to America, and it's the one where I do the review of the Bolt. The Chevy Bolt video. If you watch that one where I go to America and test drive the Chevy Bolt and do a review of that one I show all the guns. That's when I picked up the guns to sell to the gun store, and they didn't give me a good deal. I didn't get hardly any money for those guns, and they were gorgeous. And you can see in the video. If you watch the video, you'll see the guns my dad made. They were beautiful. They were just beautiful. And they were in public storage for a while, because when I went over there, my sister already had them because he passed away, and so she was holding on to them in her public storage. And already I was getting a little nervous. The rifle was showing a little bit of rust already, so I was getting a little nervous about that rifle I showed. But yeah, yeah, you gotta watch that video. It's interesting, I guess. I don't know how good it is. That one that was the first one. I went to America twice, I think within 2 years of each other. I went twice, trying to meet my dad. The first time I didn't make it. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have Turo at the time. There was the Turo app is popular in America for renting cars from people, and I didn't know about it yet, so I was trying to use just regular car rental companies, and it was really expensive, and the weather where my dad lives in the wintertime, it's so much snow that they close the highways. There's no access in unless you use the airport. You know, there's an airport in Pendleton. You can helicopter out or fly out, but all the highways they're shut down usually. Too many people die on the mountain passes. So unfortunately, the weather wasn't good that year. And then the second year, I was able to go. I had the Bolt. I think we met halfway. I think I met my dad halfway or something like that. No, he was already. Yeah, I want to talk about. He was already in the hospital. He was he was really close to death at that time. I met him. I saw him in January. That was the beginning of January, and I remember I was celebrating my birthday over here, when my sister calls, he passed away. I was like, yeah. You know, it's kind of. I made a kind of a dark joke. I was like, yeah, no, I knew my dad would do that to me. I made a joke. I was like, yeah, sounds like something dad would do, disrupt my birthday. But yeah, he was really close when I left. I knew it was very not much time left. He had some kind of rare blood cancer, right? Some kind of rare blood cancer, and so it went through him pretty fast. So, and he was happy about it. Man, he was so excited about that. He lived a full life. He lived a very full life, and he was ready to, see his loved ones. He was looking forward to that. So, and he's looking forward to seeing me again. So, yeah, it was 4 years ago. 4? Has it already been 4 years? Yeah, I think you're right, buddy. I think it was about 4 years ago. So, yeah, I'm way off topic. That's why we're down to 3 people. Sorry, I got off topic. Anyways, I think I talked about enough. So anyways, this car is going to come out for test drive. We'll have test drive models by next month. I'm going to do a test drive of this car. Looking forward to that. I hope and this one, since it's not as expensive and it's going to be the dealer's car, I might be able to do a range test on this puppy. I would like to do that. It'll be fun. Hope you guys tune in for that. So anyways, your life story. Basically in a nutshell, I did a life story stream. I don't like to do that because people don't want to tune in for that stuff. They don't want to hear about me. They just want to hear about stuff they want to hear about, and I kind of ruined that. So this stream was not one of my better streams, I suppose. A little bit off topic, but I enjoyed talking to you guys. And Pick 6, it's been great having you. I think Pick 6, you're the only one left. James, are you still there? James is still there. I know Hube took off. Elaine Pierre, are you still there? I think it's Elaine, James, and Pick 6. I think you three are the last ones. Thank you for sticking through my video. Sorry for getting so far off track. Thanks for listening to me. But yeah, take care of yourselves. And I hope I get to see you guys come over. I hope things get better where eventually you guys can start traveling again and everything, and that'd be good. No, it was borrowed. Okay, take care. Yeah, varied. That'll be good. Oh, thanks, Colin Pierre. He says can't wait to see your Sakura. All right, thanks. Yeah. So varied. Anyways, thanks. I'm so tired. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video, either stream or hopefully I can do a test drive soon. Cheers, James and everyone. Yeah. Good night. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for staying to the end. Thanks, Pick 6, for joining me, and I'll see your video soon, the banana video. All right. Good night, guys. How do you turn this thing off? I always forget.